Picture this. It's your dream life. You found your perfect mate. Oh, he asked you to marry him. She asked you to marry you. You pick a date. It's done. You're on your honeymoon. You have a child, maybe 2 or 3. Your life is perfect. You bought a house. You've got children. You've got a beautiful family. And then he brings you the papers. Or she walks out with the kids. Now what? Your heart's broken. You can't sleep at night. You don't want to go to work. Your heart's crushed. You don't have your children there. There's no one to fall back on. Not when you need it. Not in the middle of the night. You seek help from those that really can't help you much. They can't help you heal your broken heart. And it doesn't seem like there's anybody out there that you really want to date. Maybe here and there there's a temporary relationship, right? But your heart's broken. Your confidence is crushed. Maybe this has been your second breakup. Maybe it's your second divorce. Maybe it's your third. And every time you get divorced, every time you have another breakup, your heart is crushed. Your confidence is suffering. And your self-talk, well, let's not even go there, right? Today I want to talk to you just a little bit about value, self-love, your worth. When we go through breakups, especially when they're long-term, and you suffer the consequences and the results of a divorce, it's really difficult to believe in yourself. It's really difficult to have the hope and the confidence that you need to have another relationship. One of the things that I did in my experiences was really tried to remind myself how valuable and how much worth I was by focusing on the things in life that I wanted. Here's the scenario. I got married about 19 years old, had 5 children, adopted 2, and 10 years into the marriage, not very long after our 10-year anniversary, my then husband and I decided to get divorced. It was messy. The children suffered. I suffered. I went to school. I earned a certificate to become a massage therapist. My husband moved with the kids to another state and about 7 hours, 6 hours away. I followed shortly after. No job, so no income except child support. He moved with our 7 children, and it was difficult. I knew it wasn't a good situation, and not too long after, we were propelled back into a court battle that lasted 2.5 years. Shortly after that court battle began, a really bad tragedy happened. Domestic violence. It was horrible. All of us were negatively impacted about it. Our life was in turmoil. Everyone was traumatized. And then here we go into a 2.5-year court battle. By the end, I lost my half of the 50% custody that I had of my children. And not too long after, my husband said he was done. It was tragic for me. I was relying on having at least somebody there, somebody I could talk to that knew what I had gone through. And now they were gone. It felt horrible. I felt horrible. I knew there must be something wrong with me. 2 men left, and I wasn't interested in dating. It was really difficult. I knew the problem was me. So of course, my self-talk supported that. We'd gone through this trauma. I just lost my children, and I knew they weren't okay. I knew that they still needed me. I couldn't just give up on them. Come here. You know what I decided? I decided I had to do something different. Do you know what I did? That's what I'm going to tell you. I struggled, but I decided I had to work on me. I had to work on me so that next time somebody came around, I would be ready to put in the effort that I needed to work and devote time to that relationship. Oh, it was hard. Somebody told me I had to date myself. I had to go out, take myself to a movie, take myself for a walk, take myself to dinner. I didn't have anybody else to go with, so I went by myself. I started learning who I was. Like, really who Georgia Davis was. I wasn't Georgia Davis then, of course, but I really had to learn who I was because I didn't want to fail a third time. Now, there's no guarantees in life, right? And I'm married for a third time again. And I've worked really hard. I've worked really hard at the relationship, and I've worked really hard on me. You have to take time for yourself. I don't care if you're on one relationship, no relationship, you're single. I don't care if you're 17, 28, 32, 61. Working on yourself is a lifetime event. It's a lifetime habit. We constantly have to be reminding ourselves who we are and what our value is. That's really important. We have to talk to ourselves kindly. One of the things that really helped me to see and understand this, even though I was already working on it, was thinking about myself as my best friend. How did I want to talk to my best friend? I certainly wouldn't talk to my best friend the way I was talking to myself. No, I would never talk to somebody else the way I was talking to myself. Why? Why would I talk to myself that way? Well, after being divorced twice, you're not always nice when you get divorced. And you're not always nice when you break up with somebody. They say mean things, you say mean things, you say mean things, and then they say mean things back to you. It's rough. If you've ever had a breakup, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And you've probably been experiencing that since at least kindergarten. You go and sit down beside somebody, you share crayons, and then one breaks. That's it. You're no longer friends, right? They're yelling at you, throwing the rest of the crayons at you, maybe. Then you get into middle school. And in middle school, you think you have friends, but then they all turn against you. They all go do something else. They're all with another group. They're all trying to figure out who they are. Then comes high school. And the drama really begins. It doesn't get left behind in middle school, right? Then you're out of school. Maybe you go off to college. Maybe you just work at a job. And the drama just continues. We're not encouraged in society to see our worth and our value. It's, you did this wrong. Hey, you didn't do your job right. Hey, you said something mean. That really offended me. How dare you? Right? Whether you mean to be offensive or not. It all comes back to working on yourself. Now, one thing you have to remember is if there's a breakup, it may not be because of you. We all see things from our own perspective. And one of the mistakes I made was taking all of the blame. It was my fault we broke up. I should have done this. Why didn't I do that? Well, I would have done this if I could just get another chance. If I could just prove who I am. If I could just do it right this time. Like, just give me one more chance. Just one, please. I'll do it right this time. Right? Does any of this sound familiar? You take all the blame for yourself. And then, what are you left with? Not a lot. Can I tell you a secret? I felt like I was worthless, especially after the second breakup. Divorce. It was rough. I couldn't afford to be on my own. I didn't make enough money. I was working 3 jobs, 7 days a week for 9 months. It was hard. It was breaking me. I had to work on me. I had to figure out who I was. And after dating myself for a while, I was able to take my business that I was running and get out on my own instead of working under somebody else. Now, life has been really crazy since then, and a lot has changed in good and bad ways. But I had to work on myself. I had to find where my value was. You know yourself better than anyone else. You know you better than anyone else does. You know what your qualities are. You know what your strengths are. And you probably even know what your weaknesses are. Listen, I've been there. It's difficult. It's difficult to have courage and hope and faith in yourself when you don't know what it is. Because you thought you know what it was, and then everybody told you something else. They told you you couldn't do this and you couldn't do that. And why were you thinking so big? Why weren't you just happy with where and who you are? Well, what if you were? And you let everybody else put you down? It happens. I've done it myself. Now's the time. Start today. Look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I love you. You're amazing. You're a badass. You can do anything you set your mind to. Hey, remember that person you helped the other day? Yeah, do you remember how big they smiled? Hey, you know how you let somebody else go in front of you in the checkout line with their kids? Like, I know it helped you because you didn't have to listen to them scream anymore. Oh, that was horrible. But do you know how much it helped that mom or that dad or that older couple that only had 1 or 2 things and you had your kid and, a whole bunch of groceries for the week? Yeah, nice job. Give yourself a pat on the back. You got to acknowledge what you're doing amazing, because you're doing amazing things that maybe you don't even recognize. So, here's my challenge for you. If nothing else to consider, think about the ways that you help out with yourself and with those around you. Who cares if anybody else recognizes them? This isn't about them. This is about you finding your own value. Can you see it? If you can't, please let me know. I will help you find that value. And if you find that this has been helpful for you, please like my channel, like the video, subscribe and share this with others, because we all need to be able to see our value and our worth. And breakups are difficult. They make us feel crappy. So if you're one of those people out there that's had a breakup recently or in the past, remember to give yourself some love. Tell yourself how much you love you. Looking in the mirror. Self, Georgia, whatever your name is, Georgia, I love you. You're amazing. Wow, you look great today. Go give yourself some love and appreciation, and we'll see you next time.